Hey everybody, welcome back to Vegas Tips and Tricks for a Saturday, March the 14th, 2020. Yeah, I was kind of kidding. This isn't the final show, but it is the final show with this sort of format. And it's going to be a very different show for a lot of obvious reasons, which we'll get to going forward. If you listen to the little music behind the video in the intro to the show, you get that da 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 da, which originally was supposed to be the background for Vegas Tips and Tricks, Vegas Tips and Tricks, Vegas Tips and Tricks podcast. Because originally this was supposed to be like a video podcast and potentially, an audio podcast at some point. I kind of stopped using the podcast term because it really isn't accurate. And for the last year or so, we've just been calling this the sort of Saturday show. Well, next week we're going to give it an official name. Vegas Tips and Tricks is way too broad. Could be a website, could be a Facebook group, could be this channel. So next week is the first episode of Vegas Weekly, featuring me. And my name isn't Vegas Tips and Tricks. Some people do say hello to me that way, which is great. But John or JR is actually who I am. And I am essentially Vegas Tips and Tricks, but that's neither here nor there. The point is we will have a new show, we will have some new music, probably some new video, probably some new bumpers, or maybe we'll do away with some of those. So those of you who have loved the vacuum cleaner or the newspaper, those are probably going to be retired. I will from time to time incorporate the old music just because it has a nostalgic feel. But we're going to play around with a little bit different format as well, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Obviously a lot going on in Las Vegas this week, not much of it good. Just wanted to remind you that we have a number of friends of Vegas Tips and Tricks who are in Las Vegas this week, or who will be in Las Vegas this week. So just to get a sort of bird's eye view of what's going on the ground, you'll definitely want to be following them, subscribe to their channels. Matt Bridger has already been in Las Vegas for a couple of days and updates us with a daily vlog. And that should continue all the way through next weekend. So on the odd chance you're not subscribed there, you need to be. Hog and 2 Cent will also be out there, I think, in a couple of days. They're probably not going to produce a vlog live, but they will undoubtedly have a live stream or two. So, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of information that they will provide on Twitter, as will Ryan and Estes 617 will also be out there this week. And I'm sure he will provide some feedback, I say particularly on Twitter there. So definitely keep an eye on those vloggers. We certainly hope that they have a safe and a lucky week out there. Speaking of lucky, this is your lucky week. It's not just because I'm part Irish and it is St. Patrick's Day. We're having a special St. Patrick's Day sale in the Vegas Tips and Tricks store. That's right, when you use the code VTT20, all one word, at checkout, you'll save 20% for a limited time, probably at least through St. Patrick's Day. But we might let it go longer than that if people are interested. Again, there's a link to the store immediately in the show notes below. If you'd like to check it out, there's currently we have just the 3 mugs. The Vegas Tips and Tricks mug, the PJ's Cocktails mug, his channel getting started up this week, and then the Cocktail of the Week mug. So next week, he has let it out of the bag. So I will go ahead and announce that Ben Heath, one of the many vloggers from the UK and a cocktail aficionado in his own right, will be our special guest mixologist next week on the show. So you'll definitely want to tune in for that. It's a good one. I enjoyed watching. It looks like a good cocktail as well. So definitely stay tuned next week on the first ever Vegas Weekly for our special guest mixologist, and we will continue to have cocktails of the week going forward. I think we even have another guest mixologist lined up for April, so definitely stay tuned for that. In these difficult times, we could all use a stiff drink, and our friend Paul has certainly put one together for us this week, and not surprisingly, it does have a green theme. So Paul, take it away.
Hello everybody, and welcome to Cocktail of the Week with your host, PJ. Now, let's watch PJ put together another fabulous cocktail. Hey John, thanks again for another fabulous introduction. Well, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Cocktail of the Week with your bartender, PJ. Sorry I don't have the white robe on this week. I don't have a green one, so I had to go with the green shirt because today's Cocktail of the Week is going to be a little salute to St. Patrick's Day. Yes, St. Patrick's Day is coming up here pretty soon. So today's drink is going to be an Irish iced tea. And yes, this puppy's going to pack a wallop. We'll be right back with the ingredients and show you exactly how I make it. Alrighty, welcome back everybody. Now, as you can see, I've got everything laid out here. And this time we're not using a shaker. We're going to put everything right into the glass directly. Start off with ice. Yes, I did wash my hands before starting. Alrighty, that should do that. Let's pull that aside. You're going to need that. Alright, let's get started. This drink happens to have seven different ingredients. And we're going to start right off with our vodka. Pour it right over the ice. One down. Vodka. Then we're going to do white rum. We're going to do a little gin. Oh, I'm sorry. 1 ounce of each. 1 ounce vodka, 1 ounce white rum, 1 ounce gin, 1 ounce of tequila. I use Patron tequila in this one. Then we're going to go with a little melon liqueur. Just going to give it our green. Alrighty, oops. A little orange juice. And finally, a little blue curacao. Ladies and gentlemen, stir that up a little bit. Gonna add. Once again, I am not a professional, but we're looking like one, sort of. Garnish with an orange, drop in a cherry. And ladies and gentlemen, that is an Irish iced tea. And let me tell you, that smells potent. Cheers, everybody. Let's find out just how good. Oh, baby, that's one good drink. Hey, if you're in Las Vegas over the St. Patrick's Day holiday season, go up to your favorite bartender, ask him to make you an Irish iced tea. You will not regret it. They may cut you off at just 2, though. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how I do an Irish iced tea. Thanks for watching. Now, John, back to you.
Thank you, PJ, for another. That cocktail looks good, but a little dangerous. I noticed there's a kind of a theme to our cocktails of the week. They're a little bit dangerous, so definitely enjoy these in moderation. But you know, at a time when more people are sort of staying home and staying close to the family, hey, you know, it's good to have instructions how to mix up your own cocktails. So you can get out to the liquor stores and get those ingredients. There's much more to come. On an obvious serious note, and you'll notice there's no news intro. I think I mentioned that. No tips intro, no Vegas resort sort of intro that we're going to do today. Because we're just going to talk about what's going on in Las Vegas right now. And of course it's not good. Just in the past 7 days, I've been more and more of I'll say the entertainment world sort of shutting itself down. Perhaps most notably, the NBA and the NHL suspending their seasons indefinitely. Major League Baseball suspending spring training and pushing back the start of the season at least 2 weeks. March Madness being canceled. Disney closing Disney World, Disneyland. And we've even seen the beginnings of television and movie productions being shut down over concerns about the virus. Fortunately, there's so much television that's been produced for the last 10 years that most of us never get around to watching, that we could probably binge watch 24/7 for the next several years and not see it all. But it could certainly impact your favorite TV series going forward. And of course, it's impacting Las Vegas. Again, I'm going to try not to spend a lot of be political here or medical as much as I can, but to some degree that's inevitable. And what we've seen this week is sort of slowly Las Vegas, we'll say, slimming down or shutting down in some cases. And of course there's now reports, and you shouldn't be surprised at these reports, that there are individuals who work in various casinos who tested positive for the COVID-19 virus. And that will continue to be the case. That is how these diseases run their course. Over the next several weeks, you will hear a exponential growth in the number of cases. Not just because that's how things spread, but because more and more people are going to be tested, and we're going to be able to verify that they have it. I suspect that a lot of people you've been among over the past several weeks may have it and just not know about it. In some cases it's fairly asymptomatic, and in other cases people simply just don't know what they have. So, as always, I guess the tip of the week, if there is to be one, is to be as cautious as you need to be. Obviously, if you're a person with a chronic health condition or a compromised immune system, you need to be particularly careful. And if you come in regular contact with people who are like that, you need to be particularly careful for their benefit. Until just a couple of days ago, if you had asked me if I had a trip to Las Vegas planned this next week, would I go? I would have said yes. And now I don't know. And it's not out of fear of the virus or even out of fear of exposing others to the virus, but simply the fact that the Vegas that is slowly beginning to happen is not the Las Vegas that I really want to visit. We can talk about buffet shutdowns. I mean, I could do a whole show. I could sit here for 15 minutes and just talk about things that have been shut down or reduced. We heard about the buffets at all the MGM properties, and Wynn would soon follow suit. A number of other restaurants, including, I know, some this morning at Cosmopolitan, have closed. It is very likely that some hotels and or casinos will close. That could be happening even as I am giving you this presentation this morning. So, what am I, if I was flying in there, what am I flying into? And again, the people, I know people, friends of mine, who were supposed to go this next week and made a choice, a personal decision, that it wasn't the right thing for them to do. I know other people, and I mentioned them earlier, who made the decision that they were going to go ahead with their trip. Like I said, I respect people's decisions. I think these are intelligent individuals who've weighed the impact. I continue to think that despite the increasing number of cases, that the greatest risk to our society from this is when people panic. That's one reason I point out that we're going to see more cases. People you know are going to have this. There will probably be people you know who will die from this over time. That is what we're dealing with. So don't be shocked by it. Don't keep watching the news media. Sure, they provide some useful information, but particularly with the sports and entertainment world sort of shut down, they got to get ratings. And unfortunately, I think they have been more harm than good as far as providing useful information. What we already see are people panicking and buying up loads of toilet paper. Hey, by the way, there are plenty of alternatives to toilet paper, okay? Just to let you know. Don't panic. That's easy to say, not as easy to do. I mean, if I'm in the grocery store this afternoon, I probably will be, and I see that they've got a roll of toilet paper, I'll probably pick one up. But I'm not going to pick up 10. There's an old saw, if everybody in a movie theater stands up, if one person in a movie theater stands up, they get a better view. Maybe even a dozen people stand up, they get a better view. If everybody stands up, no one has a better view. If you've ever been to a show or a concert where everybody insists on standing up, you know what I mean. So sure, you may benefit if you get that extra 2 or 3 rolls of toilet paper or whatever it is you're trying to stock up on. But think about the impact on your neighbors and your friends and just on the general fabric of society. We want to slow the transmission of this disease. So hopefully we can A, come up with better treatment options, and B, so that we don't overwhelm the medical infrastructure and we're able to treat these people. But that means a longer term sort of process for this to go on, and that's going to have a very damaging effect on the economy. So expect it. As a person who works in the retail business, I have seen over the past week this sort of mania, this sort of panic, which at this point I think is just a certain percentage of the population that gets that way. But if it continues and we continue to see this, you could see real shortages, you could see real issues. But I just encourage you to try to be a good citizen, a good person, and not panic in this case. So as I say, going forward on Vegas Weekly, we will be probably talking for the foreseeable future about what's going on in Las Vegas in relation to this event. I don't see that we're going to have a lot of exciting new shows, restaurants, hotel openings to discuss. I am going to introduce a new segment I decided actually earlier this morning. We're going to do This Week in Vegas history for a while. And we can talk about some of the better times in Las Vegas as well as some of the challenges that Las Vegas has endured in the past. For now, that will replace our Hotel of the Week. And I think that could be a fun segment. I was thinking the other day with all the sports shut down, what will become of ESPN and such? Will we have like special days of reruns? The best of the Oklahoma Sooners all day on ESPN. So that's kind of what we'll talk about. And again, I'm scheduled to fly out in a little over 6 weeks. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm trying to remain optimistic about it, but I'm also trying to be realistic about it. And if one of the goals of what we're doing is to try to slow this transmission, then you're talking about a longer term outcome as far as it running its course. So we shall see, and I think that's all we can do at this point. And really, I don't see any purpose in discussing the matter any further today. I've given you the information that I have and my thoughts on it. We will revisit that again, obviously, next week. If there are hopefully some positive news, that would be great. But we will keep you up to date if there are more closures or reductions in services, etc. We will talk about those as well. So, to all of you out there, I hope that you keep yourself safe. And I hope that you have a great and lucky week. We will, as always, see you soon.